So last night I got to catch the series premiere of the DC Universe show Swamp Thing. Now, DC Universe is a streaming service app. They have unlimited comics for you to read. I had read recently they're actually going to put their entire back catalog on there. I don't know if it's already been done or if it's coming soon, but they did announce that, which is insane. I've used it for a decent amount of comics, but they're going to widen that by a lot. So if you're a big comic book fan, DC Comics, you absolutely want this just for the comics alone. In addition to that, and it's only $5.99 a month, so it's really, really cheap, really, really reasonable. They have a new show with a new episode every month. So they started with Titans, then they went to Doom Patrol, and now we have moved into Swamp Thing. I'm not exactly sure what's after Swamp Thing, but I look forward to finding out what is next. I'll have to look into that as soon as I'm done with this because I don't know. I'm excited to find out though, because so far I have been a very big fan of this streaming app and the shows that they have been doing. This is a damn cool app with cool ass shows. Now, that might not be enough shows for someone to throw down $6 a month. I know Netflix is only like 12 or something, and Hulu is like around the same, and you get way more as far as like shows go. So if you're only watching shows, that might not be for you, but I will say, man, Doom Patrol right now is finished, so that might be one of the best shows on television. If you're into comic book shows and you're into really weird, imaginative, creative, balls to the wall, R-rated, that's one of the cool things about these shows. They're all hard R ratings. So, but let's stick to Swamp Thing for now, since that's the one I'm here to talk about, but I'll touch on Doom Patrol and Titans right after. So Swamp Thing aired last night. I watched it last night and man, I loved it. So the first episode was directed by Len Wiseman and it stars Crystal Reed, Virginia Madsen, Will Patton, and the guy who is playing Swamp Thing, Swampy there, is Derek Mears, Jason Voorhees from the Friday the 13th remake. But I don't know how familiar you are with Swamp Thing as a character. I know that there's like the Wes Craven film from the 80s. That might be your only knowledge of him. If you haven't seen that, maybe you have no knowledge of him. So Crystal Reed plays a character. Now Crystal Reed is Sophia Falcone in Gotham. I don't know if you guys watched that, but I'm a big Gotham fan. I thought season 1 was okay. It was like really rocky, and I know a lot of people are like, fuck Gotham, it's lame. If you didn't watch past season 1, you did yourself a disservice, because when season 2 hits, and especially like season 3, it's awesome. I love Gotham, but the first season, I will admit, was a rough one to get through, and I was surprised they even picked it up for a second season, as much as I was like, that was okay. And it was like, I had to have friends actually talk me back into checking out season 2, and I did, and I was like, oh man, I'm so glad I had done that. But she plays Sophia Falcone, which I don't think she comes into that show until later on, so if you skipped out after season 1, I don't think she's in that season. No, she isn't. We also have Virginia Madsen in here, who is in Candyman, which is funny because we just got the Candyman news yesterday, that Tony Todd will return in some capacity for the Jordan Peele Candyman, which I'm not sure how I feel. I don't know. Will it be Candyman? We're not here to talk Candyman, but Virginia Madsen's in it. Will Patton. I was a big Will Patton fan in the 90s, especially when he was in like Gone in 60 Seconds and Armageddon and stuff like that. Really like Will Patton, so it's cool to see him here. And Derek Mears, I mean, he does what he needs to do. He needs to be that hulking presence, that huge body mass to fill the shoes of Swamp Thing. It's Swamp Thing, or not shoes, I guess, the roots of Swamp Thing. This episode is very horror centric, and the whole show is supposed to be. It's being executive produced or produced by James Wan, And they really do go full in with the horror here. And they use a decent amount of practicals blended with CGI enhancements. Now, one downside of the service is that these are lower budget shows. Not extremely low. I feel like the production value is still fairly high. But they do have some CGI that's not great, and it is, kind of takes you out of it for a minute. But really outside of that, man, everything else is just stellar to me. I loved this first episode, and everyone I know, especially like big Swamp Thing fans. I've read some Swamp Things, like some Alan Moore Swamp Thing and whatnot, but I have some friends that are big Swamp Thing fans, and they were ecstatic about this episode. So taking it from them and from me, who knows some of it and loves shows like this, we were all really, really pleased with this first episode. It kind of gave me vibes of something like a mix between Annihilation, and I more mean that around the creature, designs, or I don't know if you want to call them creatures, but the effects work kind of reminded me something like of Annihilation mixed with maybe John Carpenter's The Thing, which I think both of those movies are freaking amazing. So those are high praises coming from me. But it kind of had that aesthetic to it visually with some of the creature designs and whatnot. So there is Abby Arcane, and she is called back to her hometown to investigate some strange goings on. There's this little girl who is sick, and they don't know why, and she goes to investigate it, and that's when she meets Alec Holland. And if you know the Swamp Thing comics, you know who Alec Holland is. I won't give it away for people who aren't, Swamp Thing people, but you'll know where that's going. But man, I thought that they started to really build intrigue with these characters. I felt a good chemistry between Abby and Alec. I felt like the creature design, all that stuff, all the horror in this. There's some freaky ass shit in this. Really cool, really imaginative, and I was very pleased with that stuff. So you absolutely should be checking this show out. For $5.99 a month, this show alone is worth it. But then you also get Doom Patrol, which honestly is one of the best shows on television that no one's watching. So that's a damn shame, because much like something like The Umbrella Academy that recently came out on Netflix, which I think is another amazing show that's super creative, imaginative, weird, and wild, because that's what I like. What I like with my shows, like especially like comic book shows like this, I like when they get weird. Let's get weird. Like Legion or Preacher or shows like that, just so awesome. And this is yet another one. And damn, I don't know which one I'd pick as the best of them. I have not finished Doom Patrol yet. I'm a few episodes back. I'm going to watch them. I'm just catching up on it. But man, I love it. The highlight of Doom Patrol, weirdly, and here's a name you probably haven't heard in a long damn while, Brendan Fraser, who plays Cliff Steele, aka Robot Man. Holy shit, man. He's hilarious and amazing. Now, Brendan Fraser's physical appearance doesn't appear in the show all that much, but he does provide the voice, and man, he's funny. He's so spot on. He nails it there. And Robot Man, he's just this robot, and Brendan Fraser's character, freaking Cliff Steele's brain, is in the robot, and he's like punk rock. He wears like a different punk rock t-shirt every day, and he has like this big freaking metal jacket with these big arm pads, and he's so cool looking. One of my favorite like character designs in any show ever. I love the way he looks. He's like nailed from the comics. It's such a fun comic. It's such a fun show. The show's got Crazy Jane, played from Martina, or what's her name in Orange is the New Black? I can't remember, but she's great. She has to play like 64 different characters. Her character has multiple personality disorders, and every one of the multiple personalities has a superpower of its own. So like any given moment she can be like a different superhero with a different power, which is just great. You have Rita Farr, Elastigirl, kind of sounds like something from The Incredibles or something. And she's like a big blobby mess. She like anytime she gets upset, she like turns into this big blobby mess, and she like tries to compose herself. She was like an actress in the 50s. She was like a big screen actress, and then something happened to her, and now she's like this. Mr. Nobody, played by Alan Tudyk, is the villain in this, and when you see him, man, another cool ass character design there. This show gets super, super bizarre. You'll see all sorts of shit you never thought you'd see. And I think that's why I like Brendan Fraser's character so much, because he's almost my voice in the show, because he's always the first one to call out a what the fuck. And as I said, these are R-rated, like hard R. So you get gore, you get kills, you get guys getting ripped in half and torn, like thrown around, and half their bodies are being beaten, and it's awesome shit. And they get to cuss, and they do it a lot. It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie. You got Timothy Dalton in here, which is always great to see. Love Dalton. Cyborg is in here, who you would probably be familiar with as a character from the Justice League movie. But I actually prefer this Cyborg, and I actually like the way he looks here, because it's actually practical effects on him. Not that I'm somebody who hates on CGI, but I do prefer the practical here. And then we also have Negative Man, which has just a tragic tale attached to him. As do a lot of them. They're all just misfits. They're like C-grade characters in an A+ rated show. And then Titans was their first show, and that has Robin is like the main character, and he picks up a little girl named Raven, and he's trying to help her out. They run into a girl named Starfire who has no memory of who she is. And then there's Beast Boy, who they pick up from the Doom Patrol. So the Doom Patrol and the Titans show do cross over in Titans. That's how they introduced Doom Patrol. So you do get to see them in episode 4, which is really cool. So it's a connected universe there. As far as I know, Swamp Thing is not connected to this, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them actually connect that as well. And we also have Hawk and Dove. Hawk is played by Thad from freaking Blue Mountain State, which is a comedy I absolutely loved years back. And anytime I see this guy, he was in Blood Drive recently, and he was in something else I saw, some like one of those Office movies, like Belko, or I think it was that like that one, oh shit, the one on like Crackle, the one with Jane freaking Levy. Yeah, what was that one called? Like Office something? I think that was the one he was. Anyway, I love that guy. And my favorite episode of Titans is probably episode 9 or the season finale. But the episode 9 is with his character, Hawk, and his girl, Dove, or Dawn. And not Orda, like her superhero name is Dove and her real name is Dawn. I love that episode. It's like an origin story, and oh man, it's so emotional, and it's so romantic, and it's just perfect. I love that episode. And then episode 11, tad bit of a spoiler, but you do get to see it on the picture, so cover your ears for a second, but this might sell you on the damn show alone. You get to see Batman, and it's like full-on horror episode, in my opinion. It felt like a horror movie. So, and R-rated too, so badass. And I absolutely loved that episode. So the show's kind of hit and miss a little bit. It can drag a tad bit here and there, but it's starting to pick up steam towards the end, because 9 and 11 were my favorites. So towards the end, it was really getting into it, really enjoying the characters. And where it ends, oh my God, I was like, okay, I got to get that second season. It has been renewed for a second season. I'm heavily looking forward to it. And I really, really hope that more people pick this service up. For freaking, I mean, all these shows are great, but for Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing alone, I really wish people would pick up Titans as well, because I really like it as well. But Doom Patrol is amazing, and Swamp Thing's first episode is extremely promising. So this, I've talked about this way more than I thought I was going to. It's just going to be a quick little thoughts on the DC Universe app, whether I thought it was worth your money or not, and the 3 shows. There's also more stuff on there too. They got the Krypton show, which I've never actually watched, but I'm probably going to check it out fairly soon. A lot of cool cameos in the Titan show stuff, characters that you'd never see. I do not want to give away who the last character you see. There's an after credits sequence in Titans after the last episode. So wait for it, and you're gonna be, if you're a comic book fan, you're gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, oh my god, I can't believe they're gonna bring that character into this. That's hilarious. And yeah, I just cool cameos. Great stuff, man. I am so pleased with this app so far. 3 shows I really enjoy. They also have the Young Justice on there, which is a show that they do. It's an animated show. My buddy Travis really enjoys that one. I have not checked it out. And then they have a lot of like Warner Brother type movies like Batman and Batman Returns, like they have a bunch of those movies, Superman movies, whatnot. So there is a good amount of content. And then if you're a comic fan, tons of content. And no, I'm not promoted by these guys. No one's asking me to do this. I'm doing this because I think it's kick-ass and I really want to see more of it. So I'm going to promote it, and I hope more people do, because this service is kick-ass for $6 a month. Shit. Just pick it up for a month at least and check out all these shows and then cancel and come back in when all the season has been. I mean, I know that's not going to make them keep it going, but at least it'll do something. It won't hurt. So anyone checked out these shows yet? I know a few of my buddies have, but what about you guys? Is this something you're interested in, or have you not pulled the trigger on it because you don't want another streaming service added to the plethora of freaking streaming service apps that are not only out there but are coming out? Because like Disney Plus is soon in November 12th. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to get that one for sure. And who knows what the fuck else. Everybody's trying to do a streaming service app, and Apple's gonna have one. All sorts of people are gonna have their own original programming, and I've seen what they're putting out. Like I've seen like what they're gonna do. Like I have the YouTube one for freaking Cobra Kai, and it's just like, oh my god, guys, seriously, I can't do all these damn streaming platforms. I'm too obsessed with television, and you put out so much cool shit, I can't say no. Stop, please. I'm hemorrhaging money. Anyway, guys. All right, let me know what you guys think if you check them out. Adios.